Welcome to this completely unbiased and wildly chaotic video featuring Grand Theft Auto Online. The following content may include reckless driving, criminal behavior, bad decisions, loud explosions, and the digital destruction of property. During these videos, I may also talk about pop culture, internet nonsense, celebrities, movies, games, and people in the chat. Any jokes, sarcasm, exaggerations, or insults directed at public figures, fictional characters, corporations, trends, or anything else are clearly comedic commentary and opinion, and are not statements of fact nor representations of my real-life views or beliefs. No real crimes are committed in the making of this video. No real people are harmed. No real allegations are being made about anyone living or dead. In fact, if it sounds ridiculous, guess what? You guessed it! It probably is. If you are easily offended, allergic to sarcasm, or have a hard time placing your personal biases aside, feel free to leave now. It's being unbiased, y'all. Viewer discretion is advised.
Shout out to the real ones around the universe and the notification crew. What they do? I want to talk about why some biases are even seen as socially acceptable in the first place. Because the more that I'm unbiased online, the more biases are starting to rear their ugly head. And I don't choose to ignore them. I choose to dive in head first. But first, I got to give the real ones under the sound of my voice the right vocabulary and lens so they can see these things for what they are. A lot of times we grow through things and don't even realize why it was so difficult. The reason why most of it's difficult is because we don't have the vocabulary to express exactly what we're dealing with in real time. It's very difficult to read a dictionary in the middle of a debate, to then have to articulate your point in real time. Some people don't have that skill. I do, because I'm the unbiased one, but most people don't. Most people don't. So I'm going to give you some vocabulary and insight on certain things. So therefore, when you're out in the real world and online, you'll be able to have the whole armor of the unbiased truth, shout out to God, that you can actually combat these things with. Now, certain things are socially tolerated based on how we perceive them, and that's solely it. We might think that these things come natural to us, or maybe they're useful at the time. We even may believe that some of these things are just completely unavoidable, so we have to accept these constructs. Some things tug at our emotional heartstrings so they can be emotionally intuitive enough to sway the masses, and I'm realizing that a lot of it is just mutually beneficial. And I know y'all hear it. We're in the desert, but I'm in the hood. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Okay. I'm realizing also that these social constructs have their negative impacts as well. And I'm realizing that we reject these constructs whenever they create obvious legal exclusions, except for when it's for certain genders. And we also don't like them when they involve explicit cruelty, except for when it's for certain genders. We tend to dislike any of these constructs that are tied to historical oppression, unless it's for certain genders. And we really, really can't stand them if they're visibly blocking opportunities, unless it's for certain genders. It's difficult because there's biases rooted in these biases. So we really got to break down intersectionality, which is not this video. That'll be another video. Right now, I really want to talk about why these biases are even attractive in the first place. It's an attractiveness bias. They remain highly tolerable because they're attractive. And like I said, they help everybody go along to get along, because a lot of them go right along with some of our biological makeup. And it's a lot of psyops that are run on us that make us deny some of our biological makeup. But overall, the biases that we accept as a society, they tend to be mutually beneficial, except for when they're not. Now, I realize unequal treatment is going to happen in societies, especially when we're in a melting pot. And let me break that down real quick. Let's go do this cell. We are in a melting pot in the West, specifically in the America. So when you talk about being in a melting pot, that doesn't mean that we're a salad like everybody assumes that we are, meaning everybody brings their flavor to the table and everybody gets accepted. So if I like the croutons, I can eat the croutons first. Or if I like the Roma tomato or the grape tomato, I can try that. And if I like balmain or romaine lettuce, or I said balmain, if I like romaine lettuce, or if I like spring mix, I can have that. That's not what America is. And that's not what a melting pot is. See, in a melting pot is used when you're melting down different types of metal. And what are you doing when you're putting metal in a melting pot? You're melting it down to build it back up to be unified. So therefore, it is a solid tool that can be used. Meaning they're going to break you down to build you up in America. That's why it's difficult for a lot of people to assimilate to this country, because it becomes optional, because we're in the land of the free and the home of the brave. But I don't feel like your duty, specifically your civic duty, should be optional. These constructs exist for a reason. Why do they exist? Because why is this guy following me? Hold on, y'all. Let me. I don't know why this is following me. Oh, I missed him. There you go. Boom. There you go. All right, we're good. But anyway, a lot of these things that we tolerate create certain important patterns. All right. These biases operate through certain things. They operate through informal social behavior. Not formal behavior, informal social behavior, and subconscious judgments, meaning we tend to prejudge a lot of the things that we experience. So therefore, that prejudice creates our worldview. But you got to remove that prejudged lens that views people in a negative light. Nothing wrong with being prejudiced, but automatically being pessimistic with your prejudice is what makes it dangerous. And I know we don't have any explicit laws on paper, right? That would create any type of implicit bias. Do we? There's no way in the world we would have a paper signed by our founding fathers that would be blatantly hypocritical. Is there? You have to consider that. A lot of these social constructs that we're living under currently were developed and implemented, even through force, in a different society. That's why a lot of them aren't holding up. Like, for example, hiring discrimination doesn't hold up in this day and age. Segregation of any shape, form, or fashion, while it can be beneficial when it's rooted in pessimism and pure hatred, and it's definitely something that could be described as ignorant. Yeah, you don't want to be around to be promoting that. I also think the denial of rights, which I would go on record by saying there's no such thing as inalienable rights. But I mean, we can agree to disagree because we all live in a social construct that says that we do. So who am I to tell you? But I will say this. We got to understand exactly what we're dealing with and how we're going to handle it. People are far less willing to regulate things like attraction or family loyalty, even things like friendship preferences and status about admiration and who you want to rock with. Who is shooting at me? But I'm noticing that as a society, we have to start doing things that are based on humane behavior and decisions. And a lot of that is going to be psychological and biological. Anything else is just noise. It's like that age-old question: did man make God or did God make man? Some would say man made God out of ignorance and fear. Because if God made man, why the hell would he put us here? But then they even humanize God would be ignorant, right? So why do y'all call it a he when the spirit has no actual tangible sex or gender? Just food for thought. We'll break down these biases in future videos. I'm out of here, real ones. Peace.